This week a package arrived that hopefully is going to help turn this mess into something that's not just presentable but also safer for the bikes to be hung up, neater and easier for me to chop and choose between bikes. 4 large boxes from the nice people at Stashed arrived, and if you've not seen it before, it's going to be a slow video on how to build one. It's basically the neatest bicycle storage solution, meaning that I can slide them along and get from one bike to the next bike nice and easily. First though, we're going to empty and tidy up the mess that's in here. Stage 1 is complete. We've got floor space again. Now to remove the bikes and the old hangings. Maybe have a little bit of brush up. And finally, the last one. Look at all that beautiful space. Loads of beautiful space. We're now going to bring the boxes in and start unpacking it, and you can learn as well as we can learn how to put it together, because I have no idea at the moment. We're just going to open the boxes and work through it logically. Box number 1. So there are definitely some sort of instructions. We have a ceiling mounted rail kit. Item number 1. And if you want to know how to use it, you simply scan the QR code, which, if this is in focus, you could probably do now. Alright. Second box. A wall mount kit. In box number 3, we have another wall mount kit. These are the protectors that will go over the pedals and things and the cranks to stop the bikes banging into each other and damaging each other. So it's an adapter for a fat bike or a really deep section rim. So I guess you wrap that around the rim and then that would attach to the hook. Find a nice place for this to hang. These are the hooks and the runners that the bikes will hang from. Our very heavy duty wall mountings, that like is reassuringly heavy and strong. That'll go on the wall with some screws, either the screws that I've just removed or the screws and bolts that are included in here. I'm going to start by laying it all out on the floor, and then I can work out what order things go in and read the instructions. Easy. So we can't get it wrong, there are instructions everywhere. What have you got there? So because of the height of my bikes, or the length of my bikes, I'm going to have to mount this on a different wall to what I'd originally intended. My own fault for not checking the measurements. So it needs to be mounted 335mm longer than the wheelbase of your bike, minus the depth of a rim and a tyre, because they're outside of the hanging system. And to do that, I've just had to switch rules, because this wall was only just 2 meters, so it's nowhere near tall enough, basically. We, in the first 30 minutes of trying to work things out, have put one part of the hanging up. Just a few parts to go. I now need to measure the distance from one hanger to the next. Luckily, that's written out on the piece of card. This is like any of those little jobs you do. The more you familiarise yourself with the instructions, the easier it is. So the next hanging now needs to be 540 to 1 metre. 540mm to 1 metre between. So that's easy to do. And you should never leave more than 300mm overhanging unsupported, as it says just here. So it is really easy to follow. What I'm doing is I'm tacking it into the wall basically with a temporary screw, and then I'll go back and replace them afterwards one by one. That way we get the positioning 100% correct with a small screw, and then put the larger heavy duty screws in afterwards. To me that's just going to make sense. Someone will tell me it's the wrong thing to do, but that's okay. And then we're also going to use the spirit level to make sure that they're actually all hanging straight. I don't know about you, but every time I put something down, I end up looking for it. I can never remember. I put it in a place where I think, oh, that's a good spot. That'll be easy to find, and it never is. And if you needed proof, it was strong. I'm pretty confident in that. Should we try putting a rail on now? We are going to put 4 up in total, so it'll be 2 rails next to each other. Here's the rail. This is the hook that's already been put into it. So the hook is slightly spring-loaded, which just stops it from sliding around too freely. You simply pop that in there, and it'll slide along. Looks like an instrument. Anyway, and then the hook can also spin 360 degrees, which will make it really easy to get things on and off. The first stage of this is to attach the hanging arm to the wall mount. I'm just going to simply attach these with a little washer, a 4mm Allen key, and a nut. I found the easiest way to do this is to put the top corner in first, then let it hang, then come and collect all the others and do them all one by one after that. I am very lucky that the one ratchet spanner that I have is actually a 10mm and it fits what we need, so that is good. On to step 5. This has taken a little bit longer than expected because I made the mistake of giving myself 0 room to work here. So between the beam of the roof and the support for the rail, it was really hard to get my finger in or a spanner in to hold the nut onto the bolt as it was going through. But if you didn't do that, it'd take you seconds. We're going to slide a rail onto it and see what it's like. Oh, look at that then. That is one rail in, not fastened. You start to get an idea of what it's going to look like. You can have a little trial bit of the rope line, and then you see it is super easy. So you'll be able to slide the bike along, hit the spirit lever, and spins around nicely as well. So now starting to see it's going to work. So with this, we could adjust it. We could adjust it so the bikes hang further back, and then these simply insert into here. Push the spring down, that just helps apply a little bit of resistance to stop them sliding up and down too quickly, and we're good to go. So we now have 4 of these hooks hanging on the first rail. Got a second rail to go. I need to find the screws that hold the adapters together. I think I may have just overlooked where the package is. I wanted to say, it's really nicely packaged. So order these, and afterwards you could throw them away, or you could use them as a waterproof phone case when on your bike, or you could use them as a little tool bag, which I think will help me tidy up. If you saw the mess at the start of this video, you'll know that I need some help tidying things up. I think this would be a good idea for that. So the installation is actually so easy, I've decided to leave it to my 13-year-old.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
It's happening.
Yeah.
This is the rail system. Anyone that's ever had roof racks on their car will probably be familiar with the look and feel of it. It's very similar to like a Thule setup. It's reassuringly heavy, strong, robust. Obviously, all the different shapes are helping with that as well. But it's really nice quality, basically. There's one supporting arm for you.
Thank you.
You can do one side, I'll do the other side, and we'll go through it step by step together.
Yeah.
That's one for me. Last rail. Well, then no, it's not the last rail. We have 3 rails to put up. This is rail number 2. All the hardware is in the joining bracket. So this should now simply slide on. What I've done something weird. I've measured incorrectly. You might as well watch these things. You're not allowed to have an overhang of over 300mm. And I don't know what I've done. I've just completely measured and negated exactly where things were going to go. So we're going to have to put another one of these here, which is not a huge amount of work. But we will have to do that before we fasten it. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hooks, and I've put the spacers on all of them just to afford a little bit of extra space between the bikes. The spacers say that if the bike is more than 150mm at the axle, then use them. If not, don't. I think it will be more beneficial. So there's 8 hooks, and we have another 4 that can go on, which will make 12. I've made a real error with my spacings. It happens. I mean, it could be printed as clear as day on the instruction, but I still have to interpret it correctly, right? So I do need to add one more over there, one more hanger that is. But then otherwise, we are good to go. So let's get some bikes up here. It's actually a lot easier. It's a lot more space saving, space effective when you lean the bikes up so slightly. And you can get them almost at 90 degrees to the rim, which is quite nice. When I put the pedal protectors on, that'll stop the pedal touching the crank or the paint of the bike next to it, so that'll be quite good as well. We're getting there. It's looking pretty good so far, I reckon. What do you think? It's going to make life a lot easier, a lot neater. A little bit to tidy up here on the floor, but when that's done, we're finished. And of course, all the rubbish. All the recycling, as you could call it. So there's no way that would have gone on my hooks before. So the hooks before, some of them are bent out, and even then they wouldn't take a deep section road wheel particularly happily. They wouldn't take a deep, big enduro mountain bike tyre like the one over there particularly happily either. They certainly wouldn't take a mountain bike tyre on a road rim, so that is good news. The major limitation of this is I'm 1.79 m and that's the ceiling. Ideally, you would maybe have this 15-20 centimeters higher, and that would mean that you could get the big, tall, long mountain bikes in. As it is, I don't have more head height, and so I couldn't do it. So they will go on, but they're going to go on and they're going to have the rear wheels pushed way out over that side somewhere. I'll show you in a minute. One week later, we've been living for a full week with the Stashed Spacerail, and I'll be really honest, to start with, I was skeptical as to how much space it was actually going to save, but I can now hang up all of the bikes we have. Some of them aren't here currently, and they're all out of the way. And as you can see, it's easy enough that my kid can do it, and even the kids can come down and get their bikes much more easily than they could have when they were on the awkward hooks, and you had to remove one bike to get to the next bike. Eventually you ended up having them all off the wall. That was when you could mount to the wall. It was a real mess before, and I'm so happy it's not anymore. The only adaptation I've had to make is to remove the front wheel from the enduro bike just because it's too long, but that's the limitation of the height that we have available here. And one of the best things about it is been a really good moment of inspiration to tidy up the entire cabin. So let's have a little tour. You can see over here that Mike has got all of her pottery stuff, including loads of clay, things that she's made and waiting to put in the fire, the weights, and then as ever, all of my mess somewhere tucked away in the corner. All in all, for a few hours work, I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and it is going to genuinely save a lot of space. It's going to stop the rims getting scratched because the hooks were too tight for the wheels, didn't fit the proper mountain bike tyres when they were fully inflated, and it certainly didn't take deep section rims, whereas the Spacerail does. The hooks are of a better material. Before I just had rubber over metal. The rubber eventually will perish and the metal will wear through and will start scratching the rims, whereas this is just hard plastic, it's not going to scratch anything. I'm really impressed actually, and I'm really happy, so a massive thank you to everyone at Stashed. Let me know your thoughts, I'd love to know what you think, or if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching, see you next time.